I want to say one thing to the American people. I want you to listen to me. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky.
I love hearing it. Yes, it's him, our friend Bill. Did you like hearing his dulcet tones? Surely it's an improvement in those irritating electro tunes and bad versions of classics. You might actually like having a political ringtone. The trend took off in the Philippines when opponents of President Arroyo mischievously mixed and downloaded a taped phone conversation which appeared to suggest that the elections had been rigged. The results, partly in Spanish of course, sounded like this.
More than one M. Hello. Hello, Garcia.
There's a lot more to it than that, I can tell you, but how subversive do you get? That message was eventually downloaded over 1 million times. A phenomenon was born, the political ringtone. It's caught on in the United States too. A sublime piece of editing from a Washington-based web developer produced a message from President Bush praising Michael Brown, the beleaguered federal emergency chief who was dealing with Hurricane Katrina's devastation. Have a listen.
Brownie. Brownie, you're doing a heck of a job.
Rolls along past houses, farms, and fields.
And Brownie, you're doing a heck of a job.
Graveyards full of old black men.
And Brownie, you're doing a heck of a job.
Warms the cockles of your heart, doesn't it? With me to examine the power and the pointlessness of political ringtones are Andy Clark of ringtone.net and Rachel Russell, Senior Lecturer in Sociology at Glasgow Caledonian University. Hello to both of you.
Hello.
Thanks for coming in. Andy, can I ask you first, what do you make of this new ringtone fad, the political ringtone? Have you heard of it before?
Yes, I've caught up on the last few weeks on it. To be honest, it's probably got to be as annoying as the other ringtones out there, I've got to say. I really must. But I think it's going to be a commercial winner, I do believe. I think that the people out there who make the money from this sort of thing are actually posed to make quite a lot of money from this. But of course, you've got a lot of issues with it, such as the IPR, the International Property Rights problems. And I'm sure the MCPS, the Mechanical Copyright Protection Society, and the PRS, who you guys deal with, they're going to want a piece of this. And the biggest problem, I think, is actually going to get the permission of the person to use it. And I cannot imagine any of these people are going to say, yeah, you can use my voice to make me look stupid. I just really can't see it.
Do you know what, Andy? They could get round that. I've discussed this at length with my producer. You just get Rory Bremner to do everybody in it. Et voila. And in fact,
I think you could probably do a better impression.
Indeed. But in fact, I read in the papers today there's a court case going on somewhere in the States for Paul Newman and people like that. They're going mad because they basically say they have no copyright over how their image or their voice is used. This could happen with these ringtones, couldn't it?
Absolutely. And again, it was one of the problems I had when I started doing this back in 98, 99. Copyright, I was told when we set up the license with the MCPS, they turned around and actually tried to stop this happening. And it was only persistence, really, that allowed the BG5 ringtone license to start. So yeah, I think you're dead right. It's these people, it could happen.
Yeah, Rachel, I mean, we're chortling along there. What do you think of it? Is it inspired or is it just terrifying that there's another ringtone?
I think it's hilarious, actually, and it's far preferable to listen to. But I also think it's quite interesting politically. And just listening to you chat there, what it reminds me of is it's a kind of oral montage. And
creative.
It's creative. And let's not forget where montage started. Montage started, in Weimar, Germany. It was a very creative appropriation of standard representations and cut up and put together in a different form for a political message. This is just the same kind of thing.
Here's the problem, though, because you're going to get, and I don't know if you'll agree with this, Andy, you're going to get people doing mini Michael Moore jobs, aren't you? Basically distorting the words of somebody, cherry-picking, editing, and making some great fun messages in the process. But why not?
Well, I mean, exactly, and that is the danger, that really there is no control over this. You know, from people doing it legally, there obviously is the control, but let's face it, the internet is a massive tool, and people, if they want to rebel against anything, they will do it, and I think this is obviously a form of rebel as well.
I think we've got another cheeky ringtone at the moment, courtesy of Monster Tones.
The trouble with political jokes is that very often they get elected.
Now, Rachel, did you recognise that? Because at first I thought it was Neil Kinnock. And I didn't mean that in a nasty way. I thought it sounds like Welsh to me. It's not.
That's
it's
Arnie.
Yes, oh, thank God.
It must be Arnie. I was, you can't even, it's probably not even montage.
No, sadly not.
impression.
Yeah, but there you go. It proves that you can use this as a very powerful tool, can't you, Rachel?
It is a creative appropriation of the culture industry, of new technology. We tend to think of communications technology in terms of monolithic blocks, you know, Sky Satellite and CNN owning the airwaves. But what this goes to show is that new communications technology is actually more diffuse. And if it's more diffuse, more people have a chance of aiming to try and get their message across. You get lots of different kinds of messages. And yes, it is all a bit chaotic, a bit confusing, but that's better than the same message over and over and over again, and a lot more fun.
Exactly. And you must be rubbing your hands together thinking, ooh, business opportunity, because you are the man that gave us Mission Impossible and The Simpsons on the ringtone.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
Yeah.
I know, sorry, I am to blame for that. You can blame me.
What about the whole protest thing, Andy, using these as a political tool? Because you could get a situation, imagine this, instead of holding up your lighters at a protest, everybody holds up a message and does a sort of mass, I'm not inciting people to do this, but they do a sort of mass rebellion thing with those mobile phones and the messages going.
Well, that's definite. I mean, if you think of something like a football match or a rugby match where it would virtually be impossible to cut the media and cut that out, especially if it was live, I mean, all hell would be let loose, really.
Oh, we shouldn't have said that. That's good.
I think we can blame you for that one, actually, Claire, if it happens now.
No, I'm blaming Rachel for that.
Okay, we'll blame Rachel.
I didn't say it!
But you thought it, though.
Sorry, Rachel.
Sorry, it's symbolic, isn't it? I mean, these are symbols,
Definitely,
and
definitely.
we, you know, sometimes we don't think symbols have very much power, but the potential for these symbols to have power in terms of, okay, if people do get together at a football match or a rugby match or a pop concert, can you imagine something like this, that poverty makes history? You know, the use of it, and it's the potential of symbols to bring people together. You know, create a shared
It's empowering
experience.
as well,
It is
isn't it?
empowering, yes.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Rachel, we're talking about this phenomenon as if it's, you know, just come out of the blue, but actually a little bit of research tells us that new technology's always been in the vanguard of political movements and things. We have examples from Ayatollah Khomeini, King Charles in the First Civil War.
Yes, we do. And you think about what we're talking about, the mobile phone and the internet, but you think what the printing press did. You know, how the printing press changed communications and what effect that had on the language that people spoke and the language that people published. You know, it shifted the language from Latin to German to English. The power of new technology is phenomenal, and it's nice to see people using it creatively.
Andy, do you think sometimes we're a bit sniffy about ringtones? We're always talking sort of pejorative terms about it, but they are incredibly creative. They can jump on a train quicker than you can say boo. And they're fantastically flexible.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you can use it to take the mickey out of people. I've got a ringtone of a Dalek saying something it shouldn't be saying, and that is used when one of a very close friend of mine, Glenn, rings me. And you know, basically, you can use it for different reasons. To advertise things, you can do it to humiliate people. Loads of different reasons.
Hours of fun, actually, isn't it?
Absolutely.
But I have to ask you, are you likely to jump onto this political ringtone trend yourself? Have you thought of any things that you would like to do that you can keep clean, not the Dalek one?
To be honest, I haven't actually thought about it. I think there's definitely going to be it's going to be a commercial winner in the UK. I really do think this, and I think probably the more offensive and intrusive it is, due to the way we work in the UK, I think it's probably going to be a bigger winner.
Loads
Definitely.
of fun for the students, Rachel. Imagine all those
Absolutely.
guys at Caledonian University. Think about it.
It's going to be interesting summer.
Well, you can have things like Tony Blair saying he thinks Gordon Brown runs like a girl or something. You can just make it up and have your own fight. Very subversive stuff, isn't it?
The potential is enormous. I can't wait.
What do you think there should be, now Rachel, looking at it from a serious point of view, do you think they could ever legislate to protect against libelous or defamatory things being put onto people's individual ringtones? There's no way to police that,
I
is there?
don't think, because what we're looking at communication that goes across national borders, and that's what new communications technology does. It removes national borders from the equation. So who would prosecute? You know, and what court would people be brought to? So that's why the power, the potential of this is enormous.
And do you think the ringtone, the political ringtone, might be here to stay for a little while?
I think so, and I think what Rachel was saying was very true, because as well as that, you need evidence, and it's very easy to dispose of this. And how do you capture the evidence? Do you steal the phone and use it? It's very difficult to police, really is.
Well, you've been warned. Watch out for political ringtones coming this way soon. And just to show you how easy it is to create your own individual ringtone, here's one we made earlier.
We need your ears. Join the Radio Cafe Party with Claire English.
Sadly for you, sadly for me, that's a one-off and it isn't available as a download. Thanks to Andy and Rachel.